Welcome back, map nerds, bear spray enthusiasts, and people who still think bison are just fluffy cows. So last time we survived Sepulchre Mountain. We questioned our life choices on Terrace Mountain. We walked so far to Cache Lake that I'm pretty sure my left foot sent a formal resignation letter. And some of you actually watched the Electric Peak section and didn't unsubscribe. I see you, I respect you. I'm also a little concerned for you. But here's the thing, we're not done with Glen Creek Trailhead. Not even close. That little parking lot, it's like the clown car of trailheads. Every time I think I've unpacked all the routes, another one pops out. And today we're going deeper. Into trails that don't show up on the fancy visitor center maps. Into terrain that will either give you bragging rights or a very strong opinion about switchbacks. In this video, I'm taking you on new hikes starting from Glen Creek. You'll get the same blend of useful info, questionable humor, and elevation profiles that personally attack your quads. So if you've ever thought you know what would make this hike better, more miles and fewer people, congratulations. You found your people. Grab your boots, check your bear spray safety clip, and maybe say a little prayer for your knees, because we're heading back to Glen Creek. And this time, the trail hits back. New routes, same beautiful chaos. Let's go. Today, the Sportsman Lake route. It shares the same start as Electric Peak, but instead of turning off to the summit, you just keep going for a very long time. Starting point, Glen Creek Trailhead. Finish point, Fawn Pass Trailhead. That's over 24 miles away. You will need a shuttle, or a very patient friend, or a miracle. Total miles? About 24.2 miles. That's not a hike, that's a forced march. You could walk from one end of Manhattan to the other and still have energy left for a hot dog. But you won't. You'll be here, in bear country, questioning your existence. Junctions. The first few are old friends from Electric Peak and Cache Lake. Then things get expansive. At 0.2 Howard Eaton with Glen Creek, at 2.1 Glen Creek with Fawn Pass, at 2.3 Glen Creek with Snow Pass, at 3.0 Glen Creek with Sepulchre Mountain, at 5.0 Glen Creek with Cache Lake, at 5.8 Sportsman Lake with Electric Peak. This is where you turn right to climb Electric Peak, but you're going left towards Sportsman Lake. Then at 12.8 miles, Sportsman Lake with campsite WD3. Yes, you read that right. 12.8 miles in. That's a full day for most people. At 15.8 miles, Sportsman Lake with Fan Creek. Now you're following Fan Creek. At 17.6 miles, Fan Creek with campsite WC4. At 19.2 miles, Fan Creek with campsite WC3. At 21.5 miles, Fan Creek with campsite WC2. At 22.7 miles, Fan Creek with Fawn Pass. Hey, Fawn Pass, you saw it at 2.1 miles. Now you're seeing it again. It's like a reunion you didn't ask for. And finally, 23.3 miles, Bacon Rind with Fawn Pass. Bacon Rind, sounds like breakfast, tastes like victory. That's where you turn toward Fawn Pass Trailhead. That's 11 junctions after the Electric Peak turn. 11, I need a nap just listing them. Campsites, finally, multiple options. This route has them, actual designated sites. You'll see WD3, WC4, WC3, and WC2. That means you can break this into a multi-day trip, 2 days, 3 days, however long you want to suffer slowly. But, and this is important, you need a backcountry permit. Yellowstone Rangers are nice until you camp without one. Then they become disappointed parents, and no one wants that. All right, elevation. This one has a secret, a big, high, slightly painful secret. You start at Glen Creek, 7,266 feet, nice and familiar. Then you climb and climb. And just when you think you're done climbing, you climb some more. Because at 10 miles in, you hit the Electric Divide, and that's your highest point, 9,785 feet. After the divide, things get easier. You'll gradually descend towards Sportsman Lake, then follow Fan Creek through rolling hills. No more 9,700-foot nonsense. But your legs will still be tired because you've already walked 10 miles uphill. The last 13 miles have some ups and downs, because nature finds you funny, but nothing crazy. Total elevation gain for the whole route? Probably around 3,500 feet, most of it in the first 10 miles. This is serious grizzly country. The trail crosses the Gallatin Bear Management Area. From May 1st through November 10th, travel is allowed only on designated trails. Off-trail travel is prohibited. A minimum group size of 4 or more is recommended for hiking and camping. Snow may be a problem near Electric Divide until mid to late July. That's the Sportsman Lake route. A real backcountry adventure. Is it easy? No. Is it worth it? If you like solitude, wildlife, and that weird sense of accomplishment from walking a really long way, yes. Break it into 2 or 3 days, get your permit, and don't forget to look up from your feet. The views are great. The Gallatin Skyline. a massive point-to-point trail. Total mileage is approximately 41.5 miles. Multiple campsites, a shortcut option, and an elevation profile that will make your legs cry. This is not a hike. This is a life event. This is the trail that separates the casual hikers from the people who own multiple pairs of trekking poles and have a favorite brand of electrolyte tablets. Starting point, Glen Creek Trailhead. Finish point, Daly Creek Trailhead. That's about 42 miles away. Yes, 42. 42. You could hike from one end of Yellowstone to the other and still have time to regret your choices. This is a multi-day journey, minimum 3 to 4 days, maybe 5 if you stop to cry. No shame. Junctions. There are a lot. I'm going to read them like a subway announcement. Fast, monotone, and slightly dead inside. Ready? First stop, 0.2, Howard Eaton with Glen Creek. Next, 2.1, Glen Creek with Fawn Pass. 2.3, Glen Creek with Snow Pass. 3.0, Glen Creek with Sepulchre Mountain. 5.0, Glen Creek with Cache Lake. 5.8, Sportsman Lake with Electric Peak. 12.8, Sportsman Lake with Campsite WD3. 15.8, Sportsman Lake with Fan Creek. Still with me? Good, because we're not done. 17 miles, Sportsman Lake with Crescent High Lake. 20 miles, High Lake. 2 campsites. Take a breath. You've earned it. 26.2 miles, Specimen Creek with Crescent High. 28.3 miles, Shelf Lake. 2 more campsites. 28.5 miles, Specimen Creek with Skyrim. 31.5 miles, Skyrim with Black Butte. That's Bighorn Peak. Remember this one for the shortcut. 36.1 miles, Skyrim with Tom Minor Divide South. 36.8 miles, Skyrim with Daly Creek. 38.2 miles, Daly Creek with Campsite WF2. 39 miles, Daly Creek with Daly Creek Spur. 39.8 miles, Daly Creek with Black Butte. And then Daly Creek Trailhead. You made it. That was 18 junctions. 18. I need a vacation from that list. No wonder you can get lost. Now here's something important. If the weather turns ugly, you get injured, or you just realize that 40 miles was a terrible idea, you have an escape route. At Bighorn Peak, 31.5 miles, Skyrim with Black Butte, you can take the Black Butte Trail down to the Black Butte Trailhead. It's a shorter exit. You won't finish the full skyline, but you also won't die. And that's a win. Think of it as the I tried my best button. No shame. The mountains will still be there tomorrow. Your knees might not. Campsites, finally plenty of options. Like a lot. Okay, campsites. This is where the Gallatin Skyline actually becomes reasonable, because there are many. You can break this monster into manageable chunks without sleeping on a rock. At 6.1 miles, 1G3 and 1G4 near Electric Peak, around Sportsman Lake WD3, WD2, near Crescent High Junction WD1, WD6, at High Lake W4, WD5, at Crescent Lake WE6, at Shelf Lake WE5, WE7, and near the end at 38.2 miles WF2. That's 12 campsites total. You can break this hike into as many days as you want. Just get a permit. Rangers have clipboards and zero sympathy. Elevation, grab a snack, or a prayer, or both. At over 40 miles long, this trail is a true mountain adventure. Starting around 7,300 feet, the route climbs relentlessly to nearly 9,800 feet within the first 10 miles. After the first major summit, the trail drops sharply before rolling through a series of demanding climbs and descents. There's very little flat ground here. Every mile is earned. The middle section delivers some of the most spectacular scenery on the route, with high ridgelines, open alpine terrain, and endless views in every direction. Just when your legs start to fade, the trail throws in one final challenge. Several steep climbs between miles 27 and 34 push hikers back toward 9,700 feet. Then comes the payoff, a long descent through Yellowstone's backcountry all the way to the finish. With thousands of feet of climbing, remote wilderness, and breathtaking scenery, the Gallatin Skyline Trail is one of Yellowstone's ultimate endurance adventures. This is the longest route from Glen Creek. If you survive this, you can survive anything. Next time, something shorter. I mean it this time. Back to Glen Creek, one more time. But this time, we're heading to Fawn Pass. This trail starts at the same old spot, Glen Creek Trailhead, and ends at Fawn Pass Trailhead. No loops, no shortcuts. Just you, 20 miles, and a surprising number of campsites. You'll need a shuttle, or a friend who owes you, or really good hitchhiking skills, which I do not recommend in bear country. Junctions, let's run through them before you fall asleep. At 0.2 miles, Howard Eaton with Glen Creek. Hi, Howard. At 2.1 miles, Glen Creek with Fawn Pass. At 4.3 miles, Fawn Pass with campsite 1G5. At 4.5 miles, Fawn Pass with campsite 1G2. At 5.0 miles, Fawn Pass with campsite 1F1. At 5.5 miles, Fawn Pass with campsite 1F2. That's 4 campsites in just over a mile. It's like a campground exploded. At 10.7 miles, Fawn Pass with cabin. A cabin? In the backcountry. Probably locked. Probably full of mice. But still, a cabin. At 15.7 miles, Fawn Pass with Bighorn Cutoff. This is where you could turn off toward Bighorn Peak, but you're going straight because you have a mission. At 19.3 miles, Fan Creek with Fawn Pass. At 19.9 miles, Fawn Bacon with Fawn Pass. Bacon Rind? Yes, the best trail name in Yellowstone. And then, Fawn Pass Trailhead. Elevation. This one is actually reasonable? Did I just say that? You start at 7,266. You climb, not steeply, but persistently. Around mile 12, you hit the high point, 9,123 feet. Then, here's the kicker, you start descending. For the next 8 miles, you drop back down to around 7,000 to 7,500 feet. Your knees will be very, very vocal about this. Here's the thing, this trail doesn't try to kill you. It just asks you to walk a very long way with a respectable hill in the middle. It's the polite overachiever of the Glen Creek family. Next trail, something that won't require a shuttle. Because frankly, I'm tired of coordinating rides. Okay, so, remember Glen Creek Trailhead? The one where we started all those monster hikes. Turns out, Bunsen Peak Trailhead is literally a few meters away. Same parking lot, different sign, same dirt under your boots. You could park once and have 2 completely different adventures. Bunsen Peak Trail, 4.5 miles round trip. No junctions, no campsites, no multi-day permit drama. Just you, an uphill grind, and a summit at 8,570 feet. You can start at 9 a.m. and still be back in time for a late breakfast. At the top, you get a massive view of Mammoth, the Gallatin Range, and the parking lot where your car is waiting. No shuttle needed, no friend to coordinate with, just you and your sense of accomplishment. Now let's talk elevation. Because on Bunsen Peak, the math is simple, brutal, but simple. You start at the same elevation as Glen Creek, 7,266 feet. Then you climb 1,304 feet in just over 2 miles. Average grade, about 11%. Your lungs will be very aware of this. Then you turn around and go back down. Same 2.25 miles. Same 1,304 feet of descent. Your knees will file a complaint. Trekking poles are highly recommended. And that's Bunsen Peak. It's short enough to fit into a morning, steep enough to feel like you actually exercised, and the parking lot is right there. No complicated logistics. Plus, and this is important, you can do this trail and still have energy left for ice cream afterward. That's my kind of hike. Guess what? Same parking lot. New trail. We're not done with Bunsen Peak Trailhead yet. Next up, Osprey Falls. This one is 9 miles round trip. No campsites, no shortcuts, just you, a few junctions, and a waterfall that you have to earn. Start, Bunsen Peak Trailhead, 7,266 feet. Finish, same parking lot because it's an out and back. You go out, you see a waterfall, you come back. Simple. Long, but simple. Junctions. There are 3 on the way out. You'll hit them again on the way back because that's how out and backs work. No surprises. At 1.7 miles, Bunsen Peak with Sheepeater Trail. Sheepeater. Named after the Shoshone people who used to live here. Not because the trail eats sheep, probably. At 3.1 miles, Osprey Falls with Bunsen Peak. This is where you turn off toward the falls. You're about halfway there. Your legs are still okay. At 3.2 miles, Osprey Falls with a service road. A service road. In the middle of nowhere, probably used by rangers. Do not drive on it. You don't have a ranger truck. From there, you follow the trail down to the falls, and then you turn around and do all 3 junctions again in reverse. Fun, right? Campsites? 0. This is a day hike. A long day hike. Do not pitch a tent. Do not fall asleep next to the waterfall. The mist will soak you and the bears will be confused. All right, elevation. Let me show you exactly how this trail tricks you. You start at Bunsen Peak Trailhead, 7,266 feet. Feeling good, feeling powerful. You own this trail. You walk for a while. At 3.6 miles, you're at 7,102 feet. That's only a 164-foot drop. Barely noticeable. You think, hey, this is flat. I like this trail. That's the lie. That's the trap. Because after 3.6 miles, the trail remembers it's supposed to be mean. You drop. You drop hard. By the time you reach the falls, you're at 6,400 feet. That's a 702-foot descent in about a mile and a half. Steep. Your quads will be happy on the way down. Then, and this is where the fun really begins, you turn around and you have to climb back up. From 6,400 feet to 7,266 feet. That's 866 feet of gain. Almost all of it in that same steep mile and a half. So here's the math. The first 3.6 miles are almost flat. Then you drop like a rock. Then you climb like a hero. Or a fool. Depends on your attitude. The waterfall is gorgeous. The climb back is brutal. And that's Osprey Falls. The first half? Gorgeous. Gentle downhill, you're skipping along, birds are singing, you feel like a nature influencer. Then you hit the falls, take your photos, and the trail turns around and says, okay, time to pay up. This trail also marks the end of our time at Bunsen Peak Trailhead. We are moving on to the next trailhead. New trailhead, new adventure, new opportunities to question my sanity. Today, Bighorn Pass, 19.5 miles of rolling terrain, backcountry campsites, and a name that sounds impressive but mostly just means you'll see sheep. Maybe, if you're lucky. Starting point, Bighorn Pass Indian Creek Trailhead. Finish point, Bighorn Pass Trailhead. Same name, different parking lots. You'll need a shuttle, or a very patient friend, or a miracle. Junctions. Let's run through them. There are only 7, so you might actually remember these. At 0.8 miles, Bighorn Pass with Indian Creek. You're basically still at the car. Don't get lost yet. At 2.0 miles, Bighorn Pass with Bighorn Loop. A loop. Don't take it unless you want extra credit. You're going straight. At 12.9 miles, Bighorn Pass with campsite WB6. You're over halfway. Time to think about where you're sleeping. At 13.7 miles, Bighorn Pass with campsite WB4. At 14.4 miles, Bighorn Pass with campsite WB3. At 15.0 miles, Bighorn Pass with campsite WB1. At 15.1 miles, Bighorn Pass with Fawn Pass. Fawn Pass, our old friend from the Glen Creek days. This is where you could turn off if you wanted to add even more miles, but you don't, because you're almost done. Past that, it's a short push to Bighorn Pass Trailhead. You made it. This is perfect for a 2 or 3 day trip. Start early, hike to one of the WB sites, spend the night, then finish the next morning. No need to rush. Elevation. Let's see what we're working with. You start at the Indian Creek Trailhead, probably around 7,000 feet, give or take. Then you climb. Gently. Over 19.5 miles, you'll gain maybe 1,500 to 2,000 feet. That's an average grade of like 2 to 3%. Your lungs will yawn. There are small ups and downs, but nothing steep. No sudden drops to a waterfall. No 700-foot cliffs. Just a pleasant, persistent climb to Bighorn Pass. The hardest part isn't the hill, it's the distance. 19 miles is a long way to walk, even on flat ground. But with the gradual climb and the nice campsites, it's totally doable as an overnight. The views from the pass? Probably worth it. I mean, I haven't been there, but the name Bighorn suggests big horns and big scenery. One more thing, snow. Bighorn Pass is high. Snow can stick around until late July or early August. And as always, carry bear spray. Know how to use it? Don't keep it buried in your backpack. You're not trying to protect your granola bars from last year. You're trying to protect your face. And that's Bighorn Pass. Long enough to be proud, short enough to survive. Welcome to Lava Creek, a trail with a plan, and then a flood, and then a new plan. Originally, this trail ran from Lava Creek Trailhead all the way to Mammoth Hot Springs campgrounds, about 4.7 miles. Nice and simple. Then 2022 happened. The Gardner River decided to redecorate, and the bridge? Gone. So now, you hike from Lava Creek Trailhead toward Mammoth until you hit the gap. Then you turn around. It's still a beautiful hike, just shorter, and with a built-in excuse to stop. Start Lava Creek Trailhead. Finish same parking lot, because the bridge is out. Fording the river is not recommended, especially in spring and early summer when the water is fast, cold, and angry. Don't be a hero. If you hike to the Lava Creek Bridge at 3.75 miles, that's a 7.5 mile round trip, but you can turn around earlier. Your call. No shame. Now let's talk about junctions. At 470 feet, Lava Creek with Blacktail ponds. That's barely out of the parking lot. Don't get distracted by the ponds yet. At 1.5 miles, Lava Creek with campsite 1A3. A campsite. On a day hike? Yes. You can use it for backpacking if you're doing a longer trip, but most people just walk past it and feel jealous. At 3.75 miles, Lava Creek Bridge, or what's left of it. This is your turnaround point. Take a photo, shake your fist at the river, then head back. 4.3 miles, Lava Creek with Boiling River. That's the original destination, but you can't get there anymore. Boiling River is on the other side of the missing bridge, so maybe next time, after they rebuild. Elevation. Let's get specific because this trail is sneaky. You start at Lava Creek Trailhead, probably around 6,580 feet. Then you descend, and descend, and descend some more. By the time you reach where the bridge used to be at 3.75 miles, you've dropped 800 feet. That's a gentle but persistent downhill over. Your quads will be fine, your knees will be happy. You'll think, this is easy, I like this trail. Then you turn around and you have to climb back up. All 800 feet, on tired legs, in the afternoon sun, with the memory of that missing bridge taunting you. Lava Creek, a trail that wanted to be a point-to-point, but a river had other plans. You'll see a beautiful canyon, a campsite practically in the parking lot, and the ghost of a bridge that no longer exists. It's part history lesson, part nature walk, and a solid reminder that Yellowstone is always in charge. After all those 20-mile epics trail, I think we've earned a break. This is Wraith Falls, 0.8 miles, round trip. That's less than a kilometer each way. You could do this in flip-flops. Please don't, but you could. Start, Wraith Falls Trailhead. Finish, same parking lot. You'll be gone for about 30 minutes, maybe more if you stop to take pictures of squirrels. Junctions, none. Campsites, also none. This is a stroll, a nature walk, a let's get out of the car and feel like we did something kind of trail. Elevation. You start at 6,613 feet. The falls are at 6,700 feet. That's an 87-foot gain over 0.4 miles one way. 87 feet, that's less than some driveways. Your lungs will not notice. Your legs will not notice. Your ego, however, might feel slightly under-challenged. But you know what? Not every hike needs to be a sufferfest. Sometimes you just want to see a waterfall without questioning your life choices. At the end, you get Wraith Falls, a nice little cascade dropping off a cliff. It's not huge, but it's pretty, and you didn't have to climb 2,000 feet to see it. That's a win. Take a photo, enjoy the mist, then walk back to your car before your coffee gets cold. Wraith Falls, the trail your grandma could hike. New trailhead, new adventure. This one's called Rescue Creek. Don't let the name worry you. You probably won't need rescuing. Probably 8 miles, one direction, no loops. You'll need a shuttle, but hey, at least it's not 40 miles. Start, Blacktail Deer Creek Trailhead. Finish, Rescue Creek Trailhead. 2 different parking lots, same general neighborhood. Junctions. At 0.4 miles, Blacktail Deer Creek with Blacktail Ponds. You're not even winded yet, enjoy it. At 0.7 miles, Rescue Creek with Blacktail Deer Creek. This is where you leave Blacktail behind and start following Rescue Creek. The naming committee was not creative, but at least it's easy to remember. At 2.6 miles, Rescue Creek with campsite 1A2. Yes, a campsite. At mile 2.6, you could literally camp here and then walk 5.4 miles to the end the next day. Or you could just do the whole thing in one go like a normal person. Elevation. This is where Rescue Creek gets boring, and I mean that as a compliment. You start at 6,600 feet. For the first 3.75 miles, you climb, gently, to the high point of 6,850 feet. That's only 250 feet of gain. Barely a warm-up, your lungs will yawn, then comes the payoff. From mile 3.75 to mile 8, you descend, and descend, and descend some more. You drop from 6,850 feet all the way down to 560 feet at the finish. That's a 490-foot drop over 4.25 miles. Not steep, just consistent. Total elevation gain for the whole hike? Only about 280 feet. Most of the work is downhill. This is the kind of profile that makes people smile. Rescue Creek. 8 miles of gentle climbing followed by a glorious downhill cruise. If you can arrange a shuttle, this is one of the most satisfying point-to-point hikes in the area. Remember that trailhead we just used for Rescue Creek? Yeah, the one at Blacktail Deer Creek? We're not leaving, because this time, we're staying right here. Welcome to Blacktail Deer Creek, an 8-mile out and back to Crevice Lake. No second car, no hitchhiking, no where did I park, just you. A creek, an old cabin, a steel suspension bridge over the Yellowstone River, and a lake waiting at the halfway point. Start, Blacktail Deer Creek Trailhead. Finish, same parking lot. Simple, elegant. Let's talk junctions. At 0.4 miles, Blacktail Deer Creek with Blacktail Ponds. At 0.7 miles, Rescue Creek with Blacktail Deer Creek. This is where Rescue Creek splits off. You're going straight. Rescue Creek is a different adventure. At 1.8 miles, Blacktail Deer Creek with campsite 1A1. A campsite at 1.8 miles. You could camp here and then walk another 2.2 miles to the lake the next day, or you could just do the whole thing in a morning. No judgment. At 3.7 miles, Blacktail Deer Creek with lower cabin, a cabin. In the backcountry, probably locked, probably full of mice. At 4.0 miles, Yellowstone River. And here's the star, a steel suspension bridge. You cross it to get to Crevice Lake. Take a moment, don't drop your phone. Then Crevice Lake, take a picture, eat a snack, then head back, hitting all those junctions again in reverse. Elevation, let me paint you a picture. You begin at 6,600 feet, feeling good, feeling strong, feeling like you own the world. Then the trail starts whispering, "Hey, want to go downhill for 4 miles?" And you say yes, because you're not a quitter. By the time you reach the Yellowstone River and that lovely bridge, you've dropped to 5,800 feet. That's 800 feet of pure, guilt-free descent. Your quads are singing, your knees are doing a happy dance. You feel like a hiking god. You enjoy Crevice Lake, you feel like a champion, and then you turn around. Now the trail looks at you and says, "Remember those 800 feet you so carelessly gave away? I'm gonna need those back, all of them, right now." That's right, you have to climb 800 feet on the return, over the same 4 miles. It's not steep, just steady. But after a morning of downhill, your legs will be confused, your lungs will be offended, and you will remember every single one of those 800 feet. Total elevation gain for the whole hike, around 1,200 feet, all of it on the way back. So plan accordingly, bring extra water, take breaks, and when you finally see the parking lot, give yourself a slow clap. You earned it. So that's Blacktail Deer Creek, gentle on the way in, honest on the way out. Welcome to Black Canyon. If the name sounds dramatic, that's because it is. A little. 13.3 miles of river canyon, steel bridges, and enough campsites to make a Boy Scout weep with joy. We're starting at Hell-Roaring Trailhead, which sounds like something out of a fantasy novel, and ending at Blacktail Deer Creek Trailhead, which you already know from the last 2 hikes. Full circle, baby. This trail follows the Yellowstone River for miles, crosses it on a steel suspension bridge, and passes Crevice Lake, which you might remember from Blacktail Deer Creek. Only this time, you're coming at it from the other side. It's like a sequel, but hopefully better than most sequels. Oh, and there are 11 campsites. 11. You could camp every night for a week and never use the same site twice. So grab a permit, grab a friend with a car, and let's go walk along the most famous river in the world. Junctions. There are a lot. I'll go fast. At 0.7 mile, Hell-Roaring with Garnet Hill. At 1.5 mile, Hell-Roaring with Buffalo Plateau. At 1.9 mile, Hell-Roaring with Hell-Roaring Stop. At 2.0 mile, Hell-Roaring with Campsite 2H4. At 2.2 mile, Hell-Roaring with Campsites 2H1 and 2H3. That's 3 sites in 0.2 miles. Yellowstone really wants you to camp here. At 4.3 mile, Yellowstone River Trail with Campsite 1R3. At 6.0 mile with 1R2 campsite. At 6.1 mile with 1R1 campsite. Another cluster. AT 7.7 mile with 1Y9 campsite. At 8.3 mile with 1Y7 campsite. At 9.0 mile with 1Y5 campsite. Huff, I'm getting tired. At 9.2 mile Yellowstone River Trail with Blacktail Deer Creek. And here's the magic. You arrive at Crevice Lake and the steel suspension bridge. That's your crossing. At 9.5 mile, Blacktail Deer Creek with cabin and campsite 1Y6. At 11.4 mile, Blacktail Deer Creek with campsite 1A1. At 12.5 mile, Blacktail Deer Creek with Rescue Creek. At 12.8 mile, Blacktail Deer Creek with Blacktail Ponds. You made it. That's 16 junctions. You're gonna need a map or a very good memory. Elevation. This trail has a plan, and the plan is down, then up. You start at Hell-Roaring, roughly 6,500 feet. You descend to the Yellowstone River around mile 6, probably 5,200 feet. That's an 800-foot drop over 6 miles. Gentle, pleasant, deceptive. Then you cross the bridge, pass Crevice Lake, and start climbing and climbing. From mile 9 to mile 13.3, you gain about 1,400 feet, from 5,200 up to 6,600 at Blacktail Deer Creek Trailhead. So the hardest part is the last 4 miles. Just when you're tired, the trail says time to earn your shuttle. Bring poles, bring water, bring a friend to complain to. 11 designated sites along this route. That's not an accident. That's an invitation to slow down, to spend a night listening to the river, to wake up and walk another few miles to the next cluster of tents. You could rush this in a day, or you could stretch it into a weekend. The trail doesn't care, it just waits. So that's it. Every trail I covered from the Mammoth Hot Springs area. 17 routes, from the 0.8 mile stroll to Wraith Falls, all the way up to the 40-mile Gallatin Skyline. Some were short, some were ridiculous. All of them were beautiful in their own way. I put all of these trails into a PDF ebook. No fluff, Just the facts: trailheads, mileages, junctions, campsites, elevation profiles, and my terrible jokes if you want to remember them. It's everything we talked about in one place, so you can take it on the trail without having to rewatch a 20-minute video. The link is on the description if you want to support what I do and have a handy guide for your next trip to Mammoth. No pressure, zero guilt. Think of it as buying me a coffee or buying yourself some offline trail notes. Whether you grab the ebook or not, I'm just glad you came along for the hype. These trails are incredible, and they're even better when you know where you're going and what to expect from your knees. That's a wrap on the Mammoth Hot Springs Trail series. Next time, a new area, new trailheads, new ways to complain about switchbacks. So if you haven't already, hit subscribe because I'm not done walking yet. Thanks for watching, thanks for laughing at my jokes, and remember, bear spray works best when it's not buried at the bottom of your pack. See you on the next trail. Bye!